Salutations, my Fallout lovers. It is Matty here today, bringing you a Fallout 4 wishlist video. Now, before anything, be sure to check out the link in the description of my previous video. That is a Fallout fan mail unboxing, the second one I've ever done. It's an amazing one. Please check it out. Anyways, this series is created by your comments, so be sure to let me know in the comment section down below what you would like to see in the next installment of the Fallout franchise. If your comment's awesome enough, you will be featured in this series, along with two other commenters, just like CCBM. He says, I mentioned this in another comment, but never outright said it. Support in the Pipboy, or just in the game in general, for the touchpad on the DualShock 4 controller. You could possibly use the touchpad to scroll around the map, or other things similar to that. Now, I really like this idea, this specific support for the DualShock 4 or the PS4 controller, because I feel like that is the touchpad on the controller, I can't lie, it's a little gimmicky in a lot of games, but it does have potential in Fallout 4. I can imagine, you know, you click the bottom left corner of the touchpad, and you'll click to the left and go along the left tabs. You'll click on the right, or the bottom right corner, you'll go along the right tabs. You get what I'm saying there? It could be really intuitive and kind of keep you from moving your fingers all around the controller. It sounds so little, but like I said, these little things are really what add the experience. It's stuff that we could suggest to Bethesda that they could take into account. I personally am one who feels like the Pipboy in general needs to be its own system, like a real-time system where when I bring it up, it's not like the world around me stops. I agree that there should be upgrades to the Pipboy, so don't worry, we have covered all those for those of you wondering why I'm not mentioning that. But I do agree that a little thing like this, you know, support for the DualShock 4, make it feel unique on a system, give it a new feel, so that maybe if I hook up my PS4 controller to my PC, I'm not sure if they're compatible. I believe they are. I've seen streamers using them before, but you know, let's say that I did want to play on the PC, but I like that idea. You know, maybe I'll do that then. I just think it's really cool what he said. They're like scrolling around the map and stuff. It kind of reminds me in a way of Assassin's Creed 4 out of all games, but I feel like it's a system that really could be you know, worked on. It could be refined a little bit so that, like I said, it feels unique. Anyways, that's a great wish. Thank you, CCBM. And let's move on to the next wish from Mark Smits. He says, other ways to pick locks, open doors, and hack terminals, like blowing the lock out with the explosive skill or break open the terminal and do a wire minigame with the repair skill. Beautiful ideas, skill options. That's what I honestly feel like Fallout 4 needs, okay? Because if you watch my streams, this is why I'm doing this wish, man. You watch my streams. When I do these playthroughs for unarmed, for example, is my current playthrough. You know, it's an unarmed playthrough, very hard difficulty, and I'm just going through it, and there are so many things I miss just because my lockpicking's not up or my science isn't up, because I'm investing in my repairs for my brass knuckles and my unarmed, so I'm obviously strong enough to fight them, my medicine and stuff. And now, while I get it that there should be multiple character builds, I feel like certain areas that have potential rare weapons or unlock shortcuts are cut off to me just because I didn't invest in a certain skill. I feel like what he said here, where I could use an explosive skill, and if I use a C4, which could be very expensive, so that it's not just an OP skill option, that I put a C4 on the wall, I blow up the door, maybe an alarm goes off, God knows. I mean, I'm just going off the walls with this idea here, but you get what I'm saying, that these other ideas, these other ways to tackle situations and areas makes the game more accessible, which I know people don't like the sound of, but it's not necessarily a bad thing for people to go ahead and be able to access areas just because they didn't invest in a very specific skill. Like I said, you know, we still have people discovering stuff in Fallout 3 for the first time, and it's been out for 7 years. You know, it's ridiculous. So I feel like it would be cool if this game did have a lot more options like this for us to spread our wings a little bit, try some new things out. I really like the mini game idea. We've suggested that in the past as well. But anyways, Mark, fantastic wish. And let's move on to a personal one of mine. This one comes from What the Elliot. We have had him on the show before. He says, this is small but important. It is important. There needs to be a colorblind mode. I have a friend who is colorblind, and he tells me how frustrating it is for him to play games without a colorblind mode. So please have one in Fallout 4 so it is enjoyable for everyone. Now, this is personal for me because I grew up with a best friend who was entirely colorblind, and I always wondered why he didn't play games other than Call of Duty and Battlefield, games that had colorblind modes. And, you know, we'd all be on Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, for example. I'm not sure if that's a game with a colorblind setting. I don't think it is. But, you know, we'd all be on that having a blast, and we'd keep inviting him, and he just, you know, he'd have the money to get the game, but he just wouldn't do it. And then we kind of put the pieces together that it turns out that the reason he didn't pick it up is because it's really frustrating for people who are colorblind to go ahead and play games without a colorblind mode. So I do feel that considering Bethesda has put like HUD color options in and stuff, I think it would be a really nice gesture of them to put a colorblind mode in so that everyone can properly enjoy this game. When I talk to my friend, I don't talk to him as much anymore, but when we did play games together, I'll never forget the first time we hopped on Battlefield 3 together, I think it was. And, you know, he opened up the settings and I'm just sitting in a party, we're just quiet, and all of a sudden he's like, oh, yes! I'm like, what? He's like, yes, there's a colorblind setting. You know, he was really excited. It made him really happy. And, you know, it kind of, seeing this wish really speaks to me. So I know it's not one that all of us can relate to. A lot of us are very lucky to see all the colors, but I do hope Bethesda does take the consideration and go ahead and makes a colorblind mode, because that'd be really nice of them. And as someone who personally knows someone who's actually 2 people who are colorblind, I do know that it can get frustrating for people who are colorblind. They can't really play games as much because of there being a lack of a colorblind mode. It just kind of bothers them. It's one of those little things. But anyways, thank you all for your fantastic wishes. Would you like to be featured in this series? Post your ideas in the comments down below, and you and 2 other people will be featured in this series. Other than that, be sure to follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook, stay sexy, I fucked up my outro, rather. Oh god, this is just awful now. Stay sexy, stay active, I love you all, peace.